Hello, all cinephile. Mike, your friendly neighborhood cinephile and critic, is here, and this is episode 21 of Oscar Rewind, the 2024 edition, my bi weekly series of videos where I revisit the films that reflect the work of this past year's Oscar nominees and winners. My hope is that you will discover a new, older favorite, or maybe revisit something you haven't seen in a while. I'll be discussing the film's awards season trajectory, the box office information, the ratings, and as always, my reviews will be spoiler free. So, what's on the docket for today? Well, I'm discussing New Line Cinema's Birth. Written by the trio of Jean Claude Carrier, Milo Adika, and Jonathan Glazer, and directed by Glazer, we get a film that explores that age old wondering question: when a person dies, are they reincarnated in the birth of the new baby at the same time? Hmm. Released domestically in the fall of 2004 and stretching its international releases through the first half of 2005, by the end of its whole theatrical run, Birth made $5,095,038 domestically and $18,830,454 internationally, including a little additionally $261 from a 2021 re-release in Australia. So it had a worldwide total, as per Box Office Mojo, of $23,925,753. Now, on the rating side, this film fell to the lower. Although, as the years have gone, almost 20 years since this film came out, many filmmakers and many critics have said this film is actually a masterpiece. It wasn't greatly received at first, and with 147 reviews, it has a critical rating of 39% and an audience score of 43% based on just over 25,000 reviews. All information, of course, coming to you from Rotten Tomatoes. Why is Birth here? Well, some of you may have said, oh, Glazer, Zone of Interest. And yes, I did cover him earlier this season when I talked about his first film, Sexy Beast. So yes, he is here again, and this is actually his second feature film, but it's more so for the sound design. The sound design of Birth actually features two of this year's nominees. Well, I should say a nominee and a winner. First up, James Mather. Mather was one of the four-person team nominated for Best Sound for Mission Impossible: Dead Reckoning Part 1. On Birth, he served as the supervising sound editor, the same job he had on MI7 that got him nominated. The second individual is Johnny Byrne, who is part of the two-person team who won the Oscar this year for Best Sound for The Zone of Interest, where he served as the sound designer and supervising sound editor. And boy, will those sounds of the screams and the guns never go away from us. On Birth, Byrne was an additional sound designer, having worked on the team. So that's why we're here. We get three nominees in one on one film. Now, as for its own awards journey, Birth did make its mark a little bit in 2005. In the lead role of Anna, Nicole Kidman was nominated for several Best Actress awards, including the Golden Globe for Best Actress Drama, the London Critics Circle Film Awards, and the International Cinephiles Society Awards. International Cinephiles. I should be a member of that committee. Dare to dream. Anyway, also, in the supporting role, Cameron Bright, known to many for his roles in the X-Men and Twilight franchises, received several nominations for Best Performance by a Young Actor, including the Critics' Choice Award, Young Artist Awards, and also the same Best Young Performance nomination from the Academy of Science Fiction, Fantasy, and Horror Films. Now, it's also worth noting, and I will reference the score also a little bit later, 11-time nominee and two-time winner Alexandre Desplat received several nominations or wins for his score, including the Gold Derby and again the International Cinephile Society Awards. So, Birth. As I referenced, that age old question: are we reincarnated in the birth of a young child born at the same time one dies? That's what we're asking here. Birth opens with a narration. We hear a character named Sean, a man who we see jogging through Central Park. The narration we hear is a speech or talk he was giving where he's explaining how he does not believe in reincarnation. And no sooner is the speech done than as we see Sean running in Central Park and only seeing him from the back, he quickly collapses while jogging And then we have a quick cut and see a new baby being born. Then we get our opening credits, and we are quickly told that 10 years have gone by. Sean's wife, Anna, played by Kidman, has begun to move on, and we learn that she's going to be married to her new boyfriend, Joseph, played by Danny Houston. However, Sean is never far from her. She regularly visits her grave, and she is beginning to move on, but Sean still holds a very special place in Anna's heart. At her engagement party, we will meet Sean's brother, Clifford, so still some connections to Sean in her life, and his wife, Clara. At the same time, there's a suspicious young boy also at the apartment building who sees Clifford and Clara, and we're not quite sure who he is, 10-year-old boy, but he watches as Clifford goes into the party, and as his wife, Clara, excuses herself, and she runs off to hide a package in a park, kind of buried underground, see the young boy follow her and wonder, who is this person? Now, sometime later, we're not told exactly how many days after or what period of time after the engagement party, the boy shows up again at Anna's apartment when she is having a party for her mother. The young boy says, I must speak to you, Anna. He wants to speak to her alone, and goes on to reveal that he is actually her husband, Sean. And he tells her that she must not marry Joseph. I'm a bit skeptical, as wouldn't we all be? Anna dismisses him, but this boy is persistent, writing letters, calling the house. He goes so far and calls and tells Anna to meet him in the park. She will know where. And wouldn't you know it, when she arrives in Central Park, she arrives at the place where her husband collapsed, and that is where she finds the young boy. Believing him to, she's starting to come around to believe that this boy actually is her husband. And, we will go on then to explore this relationship and see how it develops. And, we wonder as an audience, is he really Sean or is there something more to this? There's even this interesting scene where he submits to questions and is able to recall very personal and intimate details of Sean and Anna's life together, which only just leads many to start to believe maybe he is. That's the question we have to ponder. See, it's an interesting film with an interesting premise, but unfortunately, at times it's awkwardly paced and introduces several side elements that, well, you kind of need them to get the story across. They get a bit muddled. Specifically, a side plot that I don't want to spoil too much that involves Clara, who I must say, it was nice to see Anne Heche in this role as a quite intense young woman. Now, Kidman does a fair job passing herself off as the soft spoken widow, just trying to make sense of everything that she's experiencing, while also responding to the more strong declarations made by her mother as her conscience on her shoulder, played enthusiastically by Lauren Bacall. Film again, it walks a nice line of trying to decipher if this boy is who he says he is, or if there's something else at play. But when it all comes to a head, the loose ends get tied up a little too quickly and you're kind of pushed onto believing one side of the argument. I'm not going to say which one. Now, this could have been, in a little research, they were writing the script. They were oftentimes writing or rewriting scenes the day before. Uncommon, but in a plot that's relying on these kind of metaphysical types of elements, they need to be thought out. And unfortunately, some of these scenes may have made it a little bit more muddied. And that's a shame because films like this work on a level when you can be a little bit ambiguous, maybe in the ending or when things are. But we try in this, Glazer and company almost kind of clarify things a bit much, which kind of diminishes what we get to after we've spent almost an hour and 15 minutes with this cast. But aside from the script, and the cast was fair with the material they had, I actually do want to talk a bit about the technical elements, and not just because this film was has the best sound nominees, but because of how well the sound played in, there's a nice suspense to the plot, and much of the scenes take place in this Upper West Side Classic Six that Anna's character lives in. So the way this team works, where we hear every click of a heel or a shoe on the hardwood floor, or the not so modern plumbing when the water's turned on in the bathroom, or the freaking of a door hinge when it opens, like everything works to kind of give us these suspense elements that we're looking for. And it's only exaggerated and exemplified by this plot's absolutely haunting score. It's almost like this film is a little, not quite Rosemary's Baby light, even though Kidman is kind of looking that way with the short Vidal Sassoon pixie haircut. Um, but the way that we're just kind of following these people in this New York City apartment, it's quite an interesting approach. And again, Kidman's magnetic personality is sort of what helps it land. Is Birth worth your time? That is up to you. For me, it is only a 3-star film. And honestly, it probably would have been leaning towards a 2, but Kidman does bring it up to the third. If you would like to see Birth, as of this recording and of this post, there is no streaming information available for this film. It's not streaming on any platforms, but you can rent it on most digital platforms for as little as $4. So, there you have it. I hope everyone is enjoying Oscar Rewind. Is there a film you're hoping I get to? Let me know. If you like what you heard here, please subscribe, like the channel, spread the word. You can follow me on all social media platforms and on Letterboxd. Also, remember to check out my website, cinephilemike.com, where you can find exclusive print reviews of all this summer's new releases. So far up there is If, Strangers Chapter 1, Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes, The Fall Guy, lots of great stuff. All right, happy at watching, everyone. And until next time, this is Cinephile Mike saying take a break and watch something new.